Hello everyone. I have done today's lesson as a whole lesson video. So just copy the title date target, area of 2D shapes. And then I would like you to try these questions. Copy the questions onto your book because that is how you're going to know what went wrong when we go through it. So pause the video and I'll give you a moment. Okay, hopefully you have done that. Red pen, please. And some of them you don't need to use column multiplications. You may actually just quite quickly write it out because you will know 10 times bigger than 12 will be 120. And then in your 11 times table, you may know that is 132, that is 30 because 5 times 6 is 30. So 300, 7 times 8, 56 plus a 0. 9 times 6, 54 with the 0. And then 4 times 8 is 32 with the 10 times bigger, another 10 times bigger. So you know 100 and then 1, 2, 3. You want to times 1000, so that is the answer. Now on the right hand side, you may find out something strange is all the answer is equal to 7 because I want to show you exactly how many different ways we can write times it by half means divided by 2. Half times 14 is 7 because I want half of 14. 14 times half is also 7 because that is commutative. I can just swap them. It doesn't matter which way I do it, it will have the same answer. And 14 actually can be broken down into 7 times 2 and I can actually get the answer the same. You can do that first, 3.5 times 2, or you can actually use 2 times a half, which is 1 times 7, because they're commutative, so I can swap the order around. 40 divided by 2, I cannot swap the order around, but 14 half it is 7. I can write it as a fraction, or basically I can write the top, break down 14 into 2 things, 7 times 2, and then 14 divided by 2 is also 7. We can write the same questions at least 6 times in a different format, and we will need this skill today. So as I'll connect, what should be added to the diagram to show that it is a parallelogram? Parallelogram suggests to use parallel. Parallel is something that will never meet the distance, be the same. So have a think about for 5 seconds. I hope that you realize is arrows. If I have 2 pairs of parallel line, I can use 2 arrows for one pair that's going this one direction, and then 1 for the others. I cannot write them as the same. I have to have 1 on one when they go in one direction, and then 2 on the other one when I have 2 directions. I think you know what I mean. So the next one, how many lines of symmetry does this rectangle have? Symmetry means it should look left to right. It's the same, so like when you fold it, it should just overlap perfectly, symmetrical. Have a think, 5 seconds. 2, because if I fold it like that, left to right is perfectly equal overlap. If I fold it this way, and then it will be top and bottom is the same. Diagonal, it won't, if you don't believe it. So you can try on a piece of paper later. So we're going to learn about the area of some shapes today. First of all, you need to understand if I tell you that they are this square centimeters grid, means that is going to be 1 centimeters, 1 centimeters, and then one box is going to be 1 centimeter square. The unit is with the squares because how many square basically is what we are looking at. That is why the unit is square, because we're counting how many square there. So have a look. What is the area? Area is the space inside. 1 square, 2 square, 3 square, 4, 5, 6. So the answer, if I'm counting it, the area will be 6 centimeters square. But we're going to learn how, if I don't want to count it, because some shapes, it may not able to fill in nicely like that. And also, what if I actually have a quicker way? I know that it's 3 across and then 2 down. Then basically the area is how many? So I have 3 and then 2 rows. 3 times 2 equals 6 centimeters square. some people will remember it as a formula, is area equals base times height. Base times height. Or length times width, depends how you look at it. Base, height, length, width. Basically, it's the two dimension times together. Then, sometimes they just give us the dimension without the grid at all. What we're going to do is we remember area is base times height or width times length, same thing. So 3 times 2.2. Then you can use your column 3. Okay, 2.2 times 3, 2 times 3, 6, 2 times 3 is 6. The answer would not be 66 because if roughly I have 2 times 3 will be 6, so it should have a decimal here, or you understand one decimal place in your question, you need to have one decimal place in your answer, 6.6, and the answer with the unit is centimeters square. Then, in your book, please, you don't need to draw it. I would like you to have a quick look, and then I want you to write out. I'm going to write the first example for you. In your book, I will do this. I will count. Okay, the width is 4 for A. The height is 3, so 4 centimeters times 3 centimeters. It will be 12 centimeters square. That's all I want you to do for A, B, C, D. You don't need to draw it. Okay, I'm going to give you the answer now. So for B, you will have 2 centimeters times 5 centimeters equal 10 centimeters square. C, now this is a half, so I have 4 centimeters times 2.5 centimeters. And then what you can do is you can times it, or 2.5 times 2 is 5 times 2 is 10 centimeters square. This one I have 3.5, so 3 centimeters times 3.5 centimeters. You can use your column. And then I know 3 times 3 is 9, so I will have a decimal dot there to make it close to 9. Okay, check you have the units for every single one and the number. Then, if this time they give me the area, how can I find out the missing length? Because you know 7 times a number, it will be the width times 175. Do your inverse operation. Times 7, the inverse operation is divided by 7. So that number will be 175 divided by 7. How many 7 go into 17? 2. 35. How many 7 go into 35? 5. So it's 25. That question mark, it will equal to 25. Now that is kind of extension, but I hope like most of you actually will get a hand of it. And the unit for that is centimeters, because that is just a length. Only the area got the square, because we're counting the square, the space. How about this? This is a square. How do I know it's a square? Because they tell me it's the same length. That dash means equal length, and I need to find out what times what, and that two numbers should be the same number. Give me 144. You should be quite good in your times table in order for you to realize that it's 12 centimeters, or we write it will be 144 square root, because I would like to find out what two numbers times, and that number itself is the square root. And 144, that is a square number. Okay, so I would like you to, in your book, write down the first 12 square numbers and the square roots. I do the first one for you. The first square number is 1. So in order for me to square root it is 1. And the second square number is 4, is 2. Why? Because it's 1 times 1 equal 1, 2 times 2 equal 4. Okay, then you can write it like that. Carry on, 9 square root equal 3. Pause the video and then complete it up to 12, please. Okay. Then that is the square root of it. Not your work. Done. Okay. Then find out the missing side length. This time you have a go and then I'll give you the answer. And on the right hand side, they are square. How do I know? Because they tell me it's A and A. That means the length is the same. Okay, in your book, you don't need to draw it, but I will expect you will say 9x equal 450. And then you divide it by 9, you divide it by 9, x equal 50 and centimeters. Okay, pause the video and have a go. Okay, check your work. 8y equal 112 divided by 8 divided by 8, 112 divided by 8. Y equal 14 centimeters. 7z 133 divided by 7 divided by 7. Okay, then I know that a square, because a times a equal 144. A equals square root of 144, A equal 12. You may have not done it this way, but as long as you get 12, I'm more than happy. So you may think two numbers, B equal 9, C equal 20. 20 times 20 is 400. Oh, unit, sorry. Okay. Then we are ready to move on to parallelogram. Find out the area of parallelogram. I need you all to put down your equipment now. And I need you all focus your eyes on the screen because I'm going to do a magic. Now look, this is a parallelogram. And don't blink. I'm going to cut it there. I'm going to move that there. And guess what? It's a rectangle! Yeah! So that is going to help me to find out how what do we do for the area of a parallelogram. It's because I can use my knowledge of the rectangle and I move that little corner. The area that taken is the same. Can you see? The space that taken is actually the same. So if they give me, I know how to find out the area of a rectangle. This area is going to be exactly the same as this area. So basically, it's just base times height. So for parallelogram, the area is also base times height. However, you need to make sure the height that you mean is the perpendicular height, means that you need to make it look like a rectangle. I will need a perpendicular, means forming a 90 degree. It's not this slanted height here, it's the vertical perpendicular height. So the area for this is perpendicular. forming a right angle, the symbol for that. And then for that is 3 times 4 equal 12 centimeters square. Then have a think. I give you this. Where is the base? Where is the perpendicular height? Which one am I going to use? Is it only one way of using it or more than one? Will the answer be the same? Will the answer be different? How can I actually cut it into a rectangle? Have a think about it for a few seconds. Okay, so if I am using this as a base, well, I need to find the perpendicular height. Means that I have to pretend this is going to be a rectangle. Then I need to find out what is my height here so that I can pretend it's a rectangle. Then this height is going to be same as that. So 14 times 5. Just to speed things up, that's 70. But what if I did not choose 14 to be the base? And I spotted that this is got a perpendicular height because that got the right angle here. If that is my base and if that is my perpendicular height, it will be 7 times 10. It will be 70 centimeters square. Therefore, I hope that you realize it does not matter which base you pick, which height you pick, as long as they are a pair that form a perpendicular. That's your base, that's your height, or it can be that is your base and that is your height. It kind of form this T, that right angle. That will be fine, and the answer is going to be the same. Okay, I'm going to skip through this. In your book, just try 2 questions. Just write down the base and the height and then find out the answer. It may be quite difficult for you to count. I'm going to count for you here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 as well. Okay, let's check the work. If I cut it here, this go there, so my height need to be this height to pretend it's a rectangle. So it's 3 times 10, 30 centimeters square. If I cut it here, this whole thing go there is also 3. So it may look different. One is more slanted than the others, but we are not. If you count carefully, they are the same. So it doesn't matter how slanted it is. That's because we are not using this slanted length at all. So that doesn't really matter to me. It's this height that matter. As long as the height is the same, we move that triangle there, we move the triangle there, they will form exactly the same rectangle. So the area is going to be the same. Okay. Then you should have a worksheet. It's double-sided. I want you to try this side first. It's task 1, and try this one to just work it on the worksheets and then pause the video, and then we can check the answers in a second. Okay, these are the answers, and quickly zoom it in for you. And then move down for you to check the answers there. They will give you more than enough, but that is your base, that's your height. That is just to distract you. There's no need for that one. Base, perpendicular height. That is the base, that's perpendicular height. That is the base, that's the perpendicular height. Okay, to the right hand side. They say that they have the same area. You're going to find a number, but this is the starting point because you know that's square, so you know that this must be 10, so you know that the area for this 3 will be 100. Then that's quite easy to find out, and 100 divided by 8 is going to a decimal. Last one, again, you can have a base times the height, the base times the height, and they will give you the same answer. Okay, once you've done, and then we're going to learn a bit more if time's allowed. Look at this diagram here. I have a square, which is for base, for height. I got a triangle there for base, and actually it's for height. Can you see, if I told you the area of the square is 4 times 4, 16 centimeters square, will you able to tell me the area of that triangle? Yes, half of it means that 8. This time we're going to use our previous knowledge about a rectangle, about square, to find out the triangle. They are always half of that. Then it's base times height divided by 2. Base is 4 times height 4, 16 divided by 2 is 8. The area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. Area of the rectangle is base times height. Area of parallelogram is base times height as well. So some people write it at half of BH, that's fine, base times height, or divided by 2. Then, if we know that, if we pretend this is a full rectangle, it will be 9 times 4, but we don't want a full rectangle, we want half of it because we want triangles, divided by 2. Then it's 1836 divided by 2. Meter squared this time, area. Okay, and then what if this one? The base is 4. But do I know the height? Look at the drawing. It is the same, although that little corner here wasn't really vertically. But what I need is this height. But that is still a perpendicular height because it's formed a right angle with the base. And that's exactly what I need, is the perpendicular height as well. And this one is so slanted, but guess what? The height of that, it is still the same height. So these 3 triangles get the same area, which is 80 meters square. And it's because it got the same, they all got the same height, and it's half of base times height. When it's like this, you can just find out the outside perpendicular height, inside perpendicular height. Okay, so I got 2 questions here, just to make sure that we understand what do I mean by base times perpendicular height divided by 2. I need to find out the right angle. So that is 15. I will pick the perpendicular height there, times 4 divided by 2. You can times it and divide, make it easier for you, or if some of you know that, you can simplify down, so that will be 30. If you're confused, don't use this method, but if you understand what I'm doing, you can carry on. When I come back, I will consolidate on that one. Then that is just there to confuse us for area. Then for this one, I can have this as a base, 12. If I want the perpendicular height, I need that form a perpendicular height. That is 6 divided by 2. 3, that is 36 meters square. If I don't want that one to be my height, what if I use this as a height? If it's 9, well, that form a right angle as well, times 8 divided by 2. 72 divided by 2 is 36 meters square. So it does not matter which way I use it, it will be the same. Now they got the animation there to show you on the second one. Base times height, and then they turn it around and make it look like a base and a height, easy for you to see, and then it will give you the same area. Then at the back of that worksheet is task 2, and then pause the video, give it a go, and I'll show you the answer. Okay, red pen please. I zoom it in for you. Area of these are the same because they got the same base, same height. What do you notice? same area because the base and the height are the same. And they ask you to draw in the last rectangle, draw a different triangle with the same area. As long as you have the base, you can have it anywhere. It doesn't need to be actually perfect there. 2. What are the area of triangle? Circle the correct one. B. Discuss why somebody might choose one of the other option. Basically, they don't listen to their teacher. That's why they pick the wrong answer. Just saying. Okay. Question 3. I hope that you did not use the 17 here because the 17, it is not needed. I don't need this. It's there to confuse you. Base times height divided by 2. Base times height divided by 2. This one, my base times height divided by 2. Base times height divided by 2. Okay. So hopefully you map all the answers correctly. Lastly, consolidate. The area of the triangle is 75 centimeters square. Is it true or false? Do in your book, work it out, pause the video, and then I'll show you the answer. It's false because we use the base times height divided by 2. So we use 15 times the 6 divided by 2, which is 45, because we need the perpendicular height. We don't use the slant height. That is for a perimeter, if we need the perimeter, but area is base times height divided by 2. Okay, so hopefully you enjoy my virtual lesson, and I will see you next week, or when I see you next. Bye.